All right, y'all. Bearder Bros Golf Show back in for another week. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
How was your week this week, bro? Before we get into some more serious topics.
Uh, it was long. It was exhausting. I felt like I did a lot of sleeping. I did my player ability test. My third go at it didn't go as planned, but had a lot of growing pains. Um, I felt like it was really in my hands this time. So I'm like, as I told you in private, like there's no excuse this time. Like I need to putt better. I need to put myself in better situations, regardless of bounces and things that I have created. So, creating the same shot shape, being able to rely on that, making sure it's coming out of the same tunnel, mentally being a lot more energetic. The body was in way better shape this time, but the mental wasn't. I was yawning on like 15 and it was just kind of like, brother, you got to make it. I got 4 holes left, and it ended up costing me on the last hole. I had a putt to do like kind of like a conditional status type deal through the PGA, but wasn't able to capitalize. So again, no mistake, but on my own. But other than that, I bounced back, got a chance to try out my Jordan 9s. They were great in my round with the homies. So a lot of things to grow on, but all in all, it ended up being a very productive week. How about yours, Rod?
It was an interesting week. I mentioned a couple weeks ago on the show near the end that I had a buddy in my golf group that kind of founded the group that I work with, or am kind of now the admin of, and he ended up passing away last week. So bittersweet, just because he had been struggling with cancer for the better part of 4 years, almost 4.5 years, and he even said it was his time. So he was in a lot of pain, and just happy to see him out of pain and on to a better place. So he was laid to rest this past Friday. So it was a bit of a bittersweet week, as you don't want anybody that kind of living through pain and suffering. And so
Right.
just a good dude that we're able to reflect on his life and how much he impacted people in a positive way around him. And, also, we had our Anthony Kim What's in the Bag video. So a lot of my week was, on the YouTube side, dealing with trolls, which is something that I want to address early on in this video. So this is me. This is Rod talking. Marcus can kind of stand alone, but I just want to talk about, the overwhelming nature of people that don't know what they're talking about jumping on this channel and telling us that we don't know what we're doing and don't know what we're talking about. At this point, y'all don't really know me personally. I'm a petty person, and I've been really holding that in for the better part of this channel, and it's been fairly hospitable. But as we grow bigger and more people come into the channel, you're going to get some trolls, especially if you don't necessarily kiss the butt of the player or the league that they support. And so this week I just said I'm going to get a little bit spicy in these comments. And on the Anthony Kim video, there were a lot of people saying that we had no idea what we were talking about. However, I've brought some receipts for you clowns that love to jump in our comment section. We don't just wake up on Sunday, turn on the camera, and just talk. There's thought processes behind what we talk about. There's research. We're not just doing this for fun. This isn't
We're
just
in
some
constant
hobby.
conversation about what we're going to cover throughout the week and make sure that we have some type of information to, pretty much put forth. Otherwise, we'd be watching Golf RX or we'd be watching Golf Channel and looking for the same anecdotes. That's why we are trying to bring our own little spice to this, as Rod has mentioned. Keep going, brother. My
So
fault.
yeah, no, you're good, man. Again, I'm just gonna be full petty going forward because that's what it is. So we're gonna do a little inception here. I have a video of us from last week, and then I have some updated information. What's in the bag?
Yeah.
Honestly, it was pretty straightforward. Almost, I almost said it's like an amateur bag, but somebody who's got some money under their in their belt.
Right.
Pretty much the only thing that's not stock is the Scottie T.
So what we said was that this man's bag was pretty much just straightforward off the rack. It's just what it is. It's not unique. There wasn't, you could tell that there was not tinkering going on and that there wasn't much in the way of innovation. It was stock standard, good quality stuff, as we stated. Money had to be paid for those clubs. These aren't cheap clubs. However, they are off the rack. So, resident Twitter page that is supportive of LIV and gets a lot of LIV scoops post this morning after the Hong Kong event from LIV. Just spoke with Anthony Kim's caddy, and he still hasn't been fit for equipment. So they have no idea what his consistent numbers are yet. There's huge potential for improvement there, and they're looking to do it before his return to the U.S. at Doral. Again, we know what we're talking about. We're not just out here spitballing. I put this early in the video, so if a troll sees this or we repost it down later in the week, you can understand that we're not just out here winging it, buddy. Stay out of my comment section. So anyway, I do want to talk about Anthony Kim and get the kind of the LIV stuff over and just talk about his improvement from week to week. So they played in Hong Kong. I'm not going to diss the course, but it was 6,700 yards. It did look good. But it was a shorter course. You know, you're having to play for position, put it in the fairway. It's not a bomber's course, right? So they had a press conference earlier in the week with John Rahm and Bryson DeChambeau, and neither one of them could remember the last time that they played a course under 7,000 yards. Again, I'm not going to, discourage the course. It is what it is. It's held tournaments before. But, I think the one thing that I want to take away from it besides LIV is a LIV. Abraham Ancer got a win this week. Kudos to him for actually stepping up and playing well. I think it's really the first time that he's done well in a while since he's migrated over. But Anthony Kim, you saw improvement throughout the week from him, considering the previous, week where he shot 76, 76, and 74. Although the first two rounds this week, the scoring was pretty similar, right? So I think he went 76, 74, and then shot 65 today. So improvements. And the one thing that I wanted to watch was his scoring and the reduction of his big holes, where he was kind of double bogeying and getting a lot of bogeys on the card. So just to pull up his kind of birdie count, in round one, had one solo birdie and seven, bogeys or double bogey combo of that. So round two, 4 birdies. So we're getting better. We're scoring. We're putting it close. And honestly, his putter was on fire as well, particularly on round 3. The man was rolling the rock. And round 3, I think this kind of, when you look at it over, against the competitors, I think the high birdie count from round 3 in the Hong Kong event was 8 birdies on the card for, several players. And he had 7. A couple bogeys on the card, but overall a relatively clean round compared to how he has been playing. So kudos to him. And I do want to say, as you stated before we hopped on and we're kind of talking pre-show, is that we didn't really diss the Anthony Kim thing from his perspective. 12 years is a long time to not really competitively pick up the clubs. And the first week was not a great showing. It just wasn't something that you enjoyed watching. But kudos to him for putting in the work this week. Looks like he's getting more comfortable. If the bag story proves to be true, which I think we were spot on about that, then if he goes and gets fit, he's going to keep showing up and showing out, and they have another month until their next event. So what do you think about his performance this week?
Yeah, I think ultimately it goes into getting dialed into the, the clubs that you're using out here on the tour. So, whether that be shortening the driver, experimenting with that, experimenting with stepping the driver, or making sure that, you have it tipped the right amount. Things like that are what we were referring to. And as you have seen in the Golf WRX, they specify these types of things when it happens like that. So again, we are going with the knowledge that we have plus some, because I have been in golf, in the golf industry. Rod has been playing golf and been around the golf for more than a decade. So again, we're not just talking out the side of our mouth. These are things that we've ordered. These are things that we have in our bag. These are things that we've seen on the rack. Again, things, nothing was discriminatory. Nothing was, nobody was trying to get in my man's pocketbook or flame him in any kind of way. So for him, I think once he gets those clubs, either flat in the right direction because of how he's coming into Impact. Again, 12 years off from competitive golf, everything's going to be different. Body not going to move the same. He might have shrunk. He might have grew. Things like that matter. So, yeah, he's going to have to get these clubs dialed in. He's going to have to get used to, playing under pressure again, as we already aforementioned as well. Because playing with the homies and shooting 64 and then going out with the TV on, ball down, when putts matter and have a price tag on them, a lot is going to change. So, again, kudos to Anthony Kim for keeping it going. And it seems like he's very much, trying to get involved in competitive golf again and stay with it. So as long as he stays with it and doesn't, disappear off into the desert or whatever, wherever he wants to go, I think he will keep growing and he will be something that the LIV can rely on and something that they can look forward to. Just another reason to get eyes on the product. Because what did we say? We're not trying to discriminate from LIV again, because golfers want to see good golf, whether it be played at the amateur level, the college level, or the professional level. If PGA Tour Canada has the top 5 golfers, I want to find a way to watch it. It's the same thing with LIV. So when they come around, and again, as a, I feel like we're beating a dead horse, but all the LIV fans and fanatics, I come to you humbly. I want to know what we need to say for you to think that we're not trying to rag on LIV the whole time, because we're not. We just gassed up the Hong Kong Golf Club because, again, what you saw it on YouTube, and then you saw the pictures of it in the practice rounds and everything like that. There's no denying the course conditions and the playability of that course. Again, but one thing that's funny is Ian Poulter, a 50-year-old man, is the last person to ever win on that course anymore. So, it's a thing of the past, and they're bringing it back, and glad that, they're getting this blast from the past back. So, again, I mean, kudos to Abraham Answer, but, with the AKA situation, I need another week. I want to see what it's like in Doral before I give a full picture, because, again, I want to have more knowledge on the situation before I
different
just
courses, different layouts, that'll give him several more weeks to continue to practice. Just backing up with what you said, when it comes to LIV, yes, you have names that we all are aware of, but we want to see them playing their best golf. And you cannot tell me that we've seen those players play their sharpest version of golf. I remember Abraham Answer when he was on the PGA Tour very vividly, and how tight and sharp his game was. That the man gets every ounce out of his swing. He's not a tall dude, but he generates so much, speed and accuracy with his swing. And you can just tell that he is, when he was on the PGA Tour, the game was sharp. We just haven't seen that out of him. And that's, I think, the thing that we all kind of miss out. It's hard to play just 14 weeks a year and have your sharpest game, plus whatever majors that you have entry into. Of course, we've seen them play on other tours, the Asian Tour, the Sunshine Tour, sneaking in on the DP World Tour. But, and that's why Waco Neiman is playing incredible golf. The dude played pretty much all quote unquote off season on the DP World Tour, getting reps in. Dean Burmeister got reps in on the DP World Tour, Sunshine Tour. So you got to play golf to be sharp at it. So it's not hate. It's just realistic. We're not fan guys for the league, but we're also realistic of what we're watching because we're not going to come on here and talk about something that we're not watching and experiencing for ourselves. That's
Right.
lame. So we're staying up. We're watching this stuff on YouTube, on CW when they replay it. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. But quick comment here. I agree, Mom. When you do something good, you're always gonna have haters, and we're gonna keep doing what we do. We're gonna keep being proven right. Again, we're not just showing up here winging it. So moving on. That's enough of the hater talk. So, one thing that we didn't get to cover last week was the Cognizant Classic, which I kept calling it the Cognizant Cup. I was looking at it when I was editing, and I was pissing myself off. So, Cognizant Classic had the Monday finish, and yeah, go ahead. And so, yeah, Austin Eckroat, accomplished, young junior golfer that a lot of people don't necessarily know about, ended up pulling that tournament out on Monday. He competed last year during the what used to be the Byron Nelson, or it's still going to be the Byron Nelson, but had a different sponsor this year. Um, Jason Day ended up winning, but Eckroat, proved himself to be a force and someone who's gonna have some high potential, and he was able to pay that off last week at the Cognizant Cup, Cognizant Classic, formerly the Honda Classic. And I think just kind of looking up his background and his pedigree, I just wanted to run that down before we moved on. So, he was a four-time All-American in college, was a top 20 ranked amateur, Walker Cup, qualified for the PGA Tour in 22 through the Corn Ferry, after a really good year. Four top 10 finishes as a rookie last year. Again, I mentioned that Byron Nelson finish where he was competing. And this one's just a little tidbit, especially coming off of last week when we were talking about Taylor Gooch. Austin Eckroat has more top 10 major finishes than Taylor Gooch and Joaquin Neiman combined. So I think that says a little bit about my man's pedigree. As people continue to talk about how the PGA Tour has been watered down and it doesn't feel the same. Again, these are just new names that you're getting acquainted with. I'm going to do a video at some point in time this year on kind of the scoring that we're seeing in these tournaments and the finishes. And the scoring is spot on or improved over previous years. When you look at tournament history, people are finishing at lower numbers. That has nothing to do with head-to-head competition. That has to
Star
do with how
power.
you're playing the course. The courses are the same.
Yeah.
And Cognizant Cup or Cognizant Classic was another one where that score had not been accomplished, I think, since like 2002. So
Yeah.
I'm going to do a video comparing and contrasting several tournaments and really knocking down that argument that the PGA Tour is watered down. You're just seeing new stars. That's really it. And I know people will
Agree.
laugh and say, "Oh, they're supplying LIV with their next crop of players," but um, talent is talent, bro. These people, when you look at a PGA Tour player, they're just the top 1%. It doesn't matter. They
Yeah.
got there because they're really good. And yeah, there
Yeah.
may have been talented players that departed and they now have a spot to fill, but that doesn't take away from their talent. So, anyway, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, well, no. I mean, the main thing important and the main thing is the guys that we continually talk about, the young guys that are keep coming up and making a name for themselves are doing the same thing. They're going for pins and they don't care who's in the way. Doesn't matter who you are or who's at the top of the leaderboard. And I think that in itself is very refreshing, because there's no intimidating factor. The only thing is the course, and there's no course that's intimidating for them when the game is so dialed in now. You have a GC4 quad in front of you at your hidden bay every time you tee it up, put a wedge in your hand, anything like that, even at the short game area, even for putts. It's so easy for you to know what you can and cannot do, it doesn't matter. So like these guys, like, you know, as we get into it, Bay Hill, perfect example, number 6, the par 5, where it's kind of like you choose how aggressive you want to be. These guys know down to like the decimal almost what their carry yardage is with a driver. I'm carrying mine 286.7. So, you know, I'm looking at it. I shot it here during our practice rounds. I think we can go just right over this corner. What do you think, Mikey? My favorite. But anyways, I think that's one of the things that is so refreshing to me is that these guys literally know to the decimal what they can do and cannot do. And I think that bodes well for the future of golf and the future of the PGA Tour, because a lot of those guys are doing the same thing. So we're going to see a lot more Austin Eckroats. We're going to see a lot more Jake Knapps. We're going to see a lot more mid-20s, lower 20s, these guys fresh out of college that did the work there. PGA Tour U, DP World Tour, all those stuffs, they're all going to get funneled into the PGA. And then if they go to the LIV, that's fine. But you know what they did? They got all these pedigrees and they got all these awards so they could first be on the PGA Tour. Then after they gotten the accolades, then they go and get greedy and get the money because they've done everything they wanted to do. They're not taking a step up from the PGA to the LIV. They're taking a step financially. So again, I think
they've essentially started entering their retirement plan at that point.
Exactly. So if they want to, you know, contribute to their 401k and their IRAs, all for it. So congrats to them. But yeah, definitely very excited to see more names like Austin Eckroat.
Yep, for sure. While we're talking about the PGA, what did you think of the Wyndham Clark rules situation and improving his lie? I want to see if I can pull this up and hopefully it translates pretty well here. Let's see here. Just pulling this up from YouTube. I have the sound off on this.
No copyright infringement, please.
I know, right? So you see the ball move a little bit. What they were saying why he wasn't penalized is that it essentially returned to the spot that it was. I don't know, man. That one was pretty flagrant to me. And I think that's why I'm always absolutely. That's why I'm always a little bit wary when they pull up, you know, the close-ups on people setting up next to the ball. I'm going to rewind it here.
I'm not making I'm personally not making a big deal about it. And I think it's because of that new rule and everything like that now. I mean, well, first of all, it happened earlier. Tagala did it on the West Coast. I saw him do it. Like, and it's the same thing. It's now if it oscillates or no. Shit, it was I'm sorry, it was Hideki Matsuyama at Genesis.
Okay.
So on 16 on that back row,
I know you're talking about.
Yeah. So you know when you're setting the club down, making sure you have the face angle and stuff like that. Sometimes the ball that's sitting on top of the rough might do something like that. But I think it was funny because one of the guys mentioned Wyndham Clark situation and was like, shit, if anything, he made it worse for himself because the ball kind of buried more down instead of it staying up and and everything like that. But I think the whole thing with being able to see it with the naked eye, and if you weren't able to notice it as it happened, then, you know, it's kind of, you know, hearsay per se. But, you know, nowadays with these freaking 4K cameras and stuff like that, who isn't on the slow-mo, rewinding it, going into the ultimate NBC at slow motion just to see it, you know, oscillate and then move back to a spot. So, yeah.
That's why I think they should just stay away from the zoom ins on that, on those situations.
Because then,
it's a little bit awkward. the internet starts going crazy, and people lose perspective, and I don't know. It's just it gets weird. So
Yeah,
I didn't
it was
necessarily have a
funny.
problem with it. The only thing,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was just saying it was funny because in the Facebook golf group that I always tell you about, um, uh, it really seemed like a 30 handicapper asked the group. He was like, "Did anybody see that Wyndham Clark happen? And why didn't he get penalized?" And I mean, like 8 or 9 guys jumped his bones. Like, well, first of all, could you see that from the naked eye? And it didn't move. It oscillated. He put the club down. It moved back. It's fine. And they already explained it. If you were watching the coverage, bud, I bet you're not real fun to play with. They were on his head top, man. Oh my god.
Yeah. Um. So yeah, I don't have much to say about it other than
Yeah.
it
It's
had
tough. I mean,
he
he ended up
actually.
not winning anyway, so it don't
Yeah,
matter.
had it come into play where he was competing and won the tournament, then I think it becomes a bigger controversy.
Agreed.
But because Scottie Scheffler just kind of took them boys out behind the woodshed,
Little buzzsaw
um,
on him.
it's a non-factor. So and I think
Yeah,
that's a good
true.
transition into Scotty's performance. So a couple weeks ago, we talked about how poorly Scotty has been putting the ball this year, and really how bad he's been putting over 20, the 23 season as
Yeah,
well as
last
so far
season and a
this
half
year.
or so. Yeah.
Yep. So we, saw the advice come from Rory that he should change
Wow.
to a mallet, and sure enough, he did. So let me pull this up. So I just have the putter up first. So um, our boy Scotty's playing the TaylorMade Spider Tour X. There's the bottom of it, and there's his kind of grip, the pistol grip. And, I think the argument that Rory made is that there's so much technology in these clubs that, yeah, cool, a blade may look good down by the ball, and that's what you're used to. Maybe that's what you've played since you were a junior
Yeah.
golfer. But take advantage of the technology, which we're going to get into a little bit later with Ricky Fowler as well. But there's new technology available. Why would you just leave that on the table? And so we saw, Scotty putting in quite a bit of work on the practice greens early on in the week. And I'm going to pull this down while we discuss kind of the performance. So I was tracking his putts from day to day. Day
Hmm.
one really was kind of more of the same. He had 31 putts in round one. Round two, got it down to 27, which, that's a pretty kind of standard PGA Tour putting range, 20, 26, 27.
Hmm.
Round three, he got it down to 26. And today, final round, as he pulled away from the field, 24 putts, man. If that doesn't speak to one, him getting comfortable throughout the weekend, and again, seeing dividends from that new putter and the technology, the
Oh
new
yeah.
look, and who knows, he might have to go to something else, change it up down the road, maybe get a different style. If
Yeah.
that starts to wane or he, loses his comfort zone. But I think it shows what we were talking about a couple weeks ago is that the man strikes the ball so incredibly that if he can just putt halfway decent,
Halfway decent.
just a little bit, he is going to dominate fields. And that is what we saw today with the largest margin of victory in some time at the Arnold Palmer. What'd you think about just the putter change from Scottie Scheffler?
Yeah. I think what's most important is the results. I think that, again, as we have mentioned numerous times with newer players, the younger guys, they're going with what provides the best results,
Mm-hmm.
however it may look. Scottie Scheffler went down that route. He wanted him a pretty little, Scotty T. He wanted him a tour issued only one, and that's fine. He saw what
Yeah,
happened.
went to the Olsen putter, same design, just different weighting and whatnot to
Right.
try to quell that. But yeah,
And we saw what happened. And then you go back to a mallet, more forgiveness, easier to align. Boom. One follows the other. You got it lined up. The putts are starting out great. Your pace is amazing. You're not lipping out putts and slapping your leg all crazy because all these putts are dropping now. I mean, the guy was 16 for 16 inside 15 feet today. That's one of the craziest stats I've ever heard. Because why do you have that many putts outside of 15 feet, and you're just draining them like it's nothing? I mean, you go back. I mean, one of the main clips that I was able to see today, I was at work, clearly. But 15, second hardest hole, handicapped hole at the course, and bro drains a 30-footer middle center cup like it was nothing. I mean, up the hill, down the hill, double breaking, broke right to left, comes back left to right at the hill and at the hole, and literally drains like it was nothing. I mean, the amount of confidence that thing instilled in him instantly is just remarkable. Yeah. So people want to hate on Rory, but my boy was out here on his prophetic talk. So
saw seeing Scottie roll the rock comfortably, especially on those kind of 5 to 10 footers, was really nice. I forget which hole it was. I want to say it was 14. He went in the bunker off the tee, bunker from the fairway bunker into the green side bunker, got up and down, clutch putt again, kind of in that uncomfortable range outside of gimme that he's been missing. You just knew it just looked different. And then at that point, I mean, it was pretty much secured, but he put on the gas a little bit more, and added some strokes to the margin. So kudos to him, especially heading into the Masters, man. I don't think there is the
players next week. Even he's right. He's the reigning champ in that event.
Yeah, we could have a repeat of his 22 season where he goes,
Scary
Arnie Palmer.
Man, for real.
Yeah, man. He's the best ball striker in the world. Hands down. Easily. Go argue with your mama. He is the best ball striker in the world.
Yeah, we're talking elite status. We're talking like top 4, like Matt Fitzpatrick, Rory, Tommy Fleetwood type iron ball striking smash factor type stuff, like efficiently wise. Yeah. That's what we're talking about right now. And I think, you know what, this is one of those times where we need to get back into like the stats of winning before a major event again. Not necessarily a major, but the playoffs, elevated events, or what used to be World Golf Championships. Like, what are the stats like now? Are the players still winning? Are the players still competing? Because remember how lopsided these stats used to be, where you'd win one week right before. Like, remember the stats of how many people missed the cut or played terribly after winning the Shell Houston Open, and then going riding into the Masters? It was not fun, and it was not good for them. So a lot of people got superstitious, stopped playing the week before majors, wanted to get more in tune with themselves outside of it, or showing up early to the major, the major course or whatever, the Masters being at Augusta. So that's the first one on our mark. But, Rory's playing the week before the Masters this year. He's playing at Valero because he wants to get reps in. He's playing more than he's played ever before the Masters in his career. And that's going back to 2008, 2009, when he was curly, chubby face Rory. This is the time for him. So if he wants to get it, I think, this will be one of those good years. And again, we saw the glimpses. It's just so, it's so annoying. He shot 30 yesterday, got back into contention, was like 5 off the lead, and then shoots over par today. Like, it wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. He shoots 68 yesterday, literally gets right back in the ballpark, is 5 under. So he was 4 off the lead because Scottie and them started at 9. So you 4 shots within the lead. You tee off 12:05. Leaders teed off 12:35. You 4 tee times back. You telling me you just all the wheels fall off, Rory? Like,
just go set a number.
Me, bro. It's so crazy.
Yeah, I know. I know.
It's so
We had a
crazy,
lot of
man.
content. We had a lot of content about Rory last year, up and down the disappointing Masters. I'm I'm just gonna sit on it and see what happens. Right? I just
Right.
can't. I can't put my emotional eggs in that basket anymore. Especially
So
since he's
true.
kind of given up all of his admin duties. You know, the TGL league is still until next year.
True.
You
He
got to
just wants to
perform,
play
bro.
golf.
There's
Yeah, yeah.
There's no excuses anymore. But I
Agreed.
might have to plan a work trip down to San Antonio to maybe catch some Valero
You
while he's
know,
down there. That's a good add to that tournament and put a little eyes on it. It's a fun little course. So, um,
it's a tough course. It's
the
one of the
play,
longest ones we have. It's 74.
yeah, the,
They play that course at 74. There's a few elevation changes, but mostly that's one of the flatter courses out in San Antonio. But
yeah,
the fairways roll out. So it makes sense. It's like, you have a lot of 480, 490 par fours, but you're still having a 7 or 8 iron in your hand because you hit your drive 310 or you hit your drive 320 and you still only have 160, 170. And so, it all works out.
yeah.
And like you said, I think that course and the way they condition it, it'll be a very, very good test for him going into that next week.
Because you still have to drive the ball. I mean, if you get a little bit
Right.
loose when you're playing it, if you've never been to the Texas Hill Country, if you get off the fairway, there's some
The
scruffy
bounces it could
lies.
take, man. Oh my God.
There's rocks everywhere. There's cacti, so you may end up under a
Mm,
rotten tree that snapped off, and but it's you can't move it. So
cannot.
I mean, you still got to play golf, even though it's somewhat forgiving,
100%.
but you still got to place your ball, and the approach play I think is some pretty large greens out there, but different sections and bowls that you have to play to. So you
Yeah.
really have to be able to place it, which is also again good tune up for the Masters to be able to hit a spot that may not be near the hole. Right, a lot of
Yeah.
times we see at the Masters at the Valero where you have to play away from the hole, play some slopes, and really just say, hey, a 10 to 15 foot putt is just fine. I'm not going to be
Yeah.
able to stuff it, or I shouldn't say, 15-yard putt is fine. I'm not going to be able to stuff it in near the hole. I'm playing hole high and then just trying to, putt and get the heck up out of there. So I think it's a
Agreed.
really good tune up start for him. Place that he's probably, I can't even remember the last time or if he's ever played there. So
I don't
new
think he
adventures
has.
for Rory. Yeah, I don't think so either. But before we shot too far away from Scotty, what's in the bag? Let's go through his.
Wow.
Yeah. So like the rest of the TaylorMade guys and gals playing the Q10 at 8 degrees. I'm not surprised by this. I am a little bit surprised by his use of the 3 wood at 15 degrees. That's interesting that we've seen a lot of players playing the jacked up burner
Hmm.
at 13 and a half. But he's playing the traditional 15-degree 3 wood with the 8 degree driver, the Fujikara Ventus Black 7X. I mean, pretty standard issue shaft
Such
there,
a
but
common staff. Such a common shaft. I think pretty much every tour player plays that shaft. What do you think, Rod? Hmm? Hmm?
I disagree. But
Golly.
again, back to these trolls. Again, as a TaylorMade staffer, you see him playing the Srixon 3 and 4. This is their driving iron with a lot of tape on it.
Wow,
This one's
such a common club, right? I think a lot of tour players play this club. Don't you? Mm, I That's a club I've seen in a lot of bags. I, I can't. I've seen that club in a lot of bags. Haven't you, Rod? Mm,
every week, right? Every
right.
player.
Mm.
A lot. I mean, a lot of the people that are trolling us don't get sarcasm, so they won't understand Marcus's tone. So it'll sound completely foreign to
It will
them.
feel. It'll.
It'll be so weird. They don't know
Oh
what's happening.
man. Oh man.
So before I'm gonna come back to this slide, but this other one, has a lot of lead tape on it, and you can tell
Yeah.
these are aged. Like that tape has been on there for a while. He's been playing these bad boys for a little bit.
Mm.
This is not brand new lead tape.
Oh
That's
yeah.
he's
That's
made some adjustments to that.
in all honesty though, that is crazy to me that he has so much tape. I guess you know what, if that club isn't with your staff deal, do you think that he doesn't have the capabilities to go into the Strixon tour bus and get that injected or get that hit with some glue or some lead solvent or something in that? Because I think if it
Uh,
was a TaylorMade club, I think he'd be able to. But it being
yeah,
all kind of outside of his realm, I don't think they're going to allow him to be in the Strixon bus to get this
not like
work or
that.
get
No,
that right to get that deal
no.
in.
I mean,
So he has to do the tape game.
a lot of times, when they are not playing clubs that are not part of their club deal, they have to be really kind of
Quiet about
covert
it.
about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like even
He's
Brooks
taped
Koepka,
up. Yeah.
has the Shrixon head cover on his Q10 driver. So if
Yep.
that says all you need to know about you know what
Yeah.
brands want to see and kind of the access that you may or may not be able to get if you're not playing a club within your deal.
Yeah, absolutely. That's crazy that you mentioned that because my first ever event that I went to with Uncle Al, the Shell Houston Open, we were on the tee box and we were watching a guy with he was Callaway staff. And he had maybe a 3 or 4 year old driver. I mean, literally,
Mm-hmm.
you could see it when he's standing, holding it in cane pose. I mean, literally all that stuff. But guess what head cover he had? The most updated head cover because they were like,
Callaway.
well, yeah, we're pushing the Callaway Big Bertha Epic Flash or whatever it may be that year
Yep.
was their title driver. So they do that shit all the time. They run that game
Yeah.
every week. So, I mean, Brooks Koepka's great name. Nike Covert Tour 2 iron that he still holds in his bag as a driving iron. Still
We'll
holds
get
it.
to that. Hold on. Chill out.
You're right.
We're going to
I'm
talk
sorry.
about some Nike
My
Nike
bad,
stuff
man.
later. All right.
My
So this
bad.
is Scotty time. So TaylorMade P7 TWs, the 5 through pitch and wedge. That's the Tiger iron. I'll get to the picture down here below. So he's playing the Nippon NS Modus 3, or not 3, but NS Pro Modus. Nippon getting a little bit of run. It's
Nippon
surprising.
NS Pro Modus 3 shaft.
There's
That's
been a
very
shift, man.
specific.
So a few years ago, in which I think you're playing KBS right now, right?
Yeah, but Nippon, the Modus shaft is a shaft that I was researching and looking
Considering.
at going to, but they didn't have the weight with the right spin and trajectory that I wanted. Like the
Yeah.
shaft would have still been too light. It was like a 115-gram shaft, but I wanted, like, honestly, I probably in the KBF shafts the money tapers I have, I could probably go 5 more grams and still be okay. I probably could have went stiff plus and went 125 grams, but the 120 feels really amazing in my hands right now. So I'm going to
Yeah.
hush it up.
So Nippon has actually surpassed KBS when you're looking at the top players in the game.
Yeah.
KBS is played by still a handful, but not as much. And then True Temper is kind of continues to lead the game. So he's playing the True Temper
Right.
Dynamic Gold Tour Issue X100s. Fairly light shaft, but yeah, he's doing his thing with those. Let's get down to these pictures of the P7 TWs. Traditional blade, the Tiger ones. Only a handful of players actually game these bad boys, but
Yeah.
Clearly, Sheffler is not a disciple of Tiger, but he wears the shoes, he plays the irons. Came up during the Tiger era, so not
Yeah.
surprising at all. Let's see here before I.
No, one bit.
Yep, Voki. He's still playing the SM8s, which is cool. You stick with what works, right?
Yeah.
Like the design. Pretty rusty. I wonder if he gets these kind of resurfaced, or the kind of grooves redone, or if he's just carrying around a bunch of sets in his garage or something. But he's 2 versions behind, and they don't release these every year.
Every other year. These are 4 years old
Every
at
other,
least.
yeah. So he's got the 50, 56 with the high bounce, interesting bounce, and then he's playing the Titleist Vokey Design Wedgeworks prototype, and he's got that at 60. Interesting setup there.
Does he have a picture of the 60?
I didn't know. I wasn't able to find a picture of the
A
60.
60.5 T grind.
But
That's
it's a prototype.
that's very specific. That's like
Yep.
a grind where, I mean, if you look at what he did in the Masters in 2022, that's why he could pull off those shots where it was like coming out super flat, would check up like insane and an insane amount, and then would
Yeah.
release. Like, I mean,
And we usually
you
don't
know,
get a lot of
but
the detail around the bounce on
that's
these
true.
wedges either. So this 14, that's pretty damn high. And I'm assuming that depending on the course that he's playing, that may vary, and he may go to a lower bounce depending on grass types and whatnot. But pretty high
Well,
bounce
he
there.
might be. That is a high bounce, but it's a F grind though. So if it's a F grind, he might be making more full shots than not. You know what I'm saying? If
Yeah.
he was playing like an M grind, which is very much so a universal grind for everything you want to do, that would
Mm-hmm.
have it more rounded. So anything with
Or he
like an
could
F
open it up
grind,
or something.
yeah. So perfect example. So my 50 is a F grind. So you see how square it is? Everything that I want
Mm-hmm.
to do, I don't need to open the face or do anything like that. So that's pretty much what I think he's trying to do. He probably uses his 60 a lot in around the greens, and as far as like the sand and opening it up and everything like that. So he might be using it more for full shot capabilities. That's probably
Yeah,
why it has so much bounce.
which they were talking about that in the telecast today. It may have been even the Puerto Rico Open that I was listening to them talk about. Um, the guy who ended up winning it, Bryce Garnett, just saying
Yeah, in the
that,
playoff.
yeah, he ended up getting like a little bit close, and I think he hit his 60. I think on the fourth playoff hole, and it just had way too much spin. And they were just
Mm,
commenting that most pros don't like to hit their 60 as a full shot club, just
yep.
because it rarely goes as far or carries as far as you would typically expect versus what you can expect from your 56 or your 50 or 52, whatever you carry as a gap wedge in your
Facts.
bag.
Mm-hmm.
So cool beans. Fun going through Scotty's bag. Those have been really popular on the channel. We're gonna keep doing those, and clearly people like knowing what pros are playing, because if they were all playing the same stuff, these would get pretty stale
These would
pretty
be
damn
pretty
fast.
absolutely. And to know how they compare up to tours, like tour players. Oh, you know what? I am playing that vintage shaft. Is it my vintage shaft? No. I mean,
Nope,
I'm not playing
probably
it.
not. Not
It's
the you may play the Ventus, not this like the S, not the X, but
right.
you still may be playing. Yeah,
And that's
whatever.
another thing. You got to think about that as far as like levels of stiffness, pause, but like thinking about things like like the vintage shaft, if it's a Velocore shaft and things like that, bro. Like I think they need to put that more with the like the what's in the bags, like when we're looking them up. But again, most I now that's something Mr. Steve Smitherin or Smithsonian
We're not gonna
seven
give
two
that man any
six
run.
15 8 whatever your name is. Now that's something I think is very much so universal amongst the tour, would be like the Velocore, because it's a little bit stiffer, a little bit border. The kick point is a little bit more controllable. That is something that I do agree most tour players do have. So thank you so much, Steve. You're the best.
Oh, you
What
don't
will
want to
we
mess with
do about you,
our
Steve?
our petty is beyond all petty. Let's see here. We have a couple more equipment things that I do want to go over. We'll take a quick little sabbatical to touch on one other thing, and then we'll jump back into the equipment stuff. So, Live Golf officially this week gave up its push for official world golf ranking points, claiming that the system is outdated. I'm not going to give this too much energy, so I'm going to go
Yeah,
through the story and then move on with my life. They're going to, I guess, try to work around it. I mean, we've said this multiple times, is that y'all go to 4 rounds. I'm pretty sure official world golf ranking would be willing to give y'all, the
pretty
points,
quick.
even if you
With
keep the team
shotgun
aspect, which they
54.
were. Yeah, they were also opposed to the team aspect because team play can affect individual play, or you make different moves based on playing in a
Correct.
team setting versus playing solo. But I think 4 rounds would do it, but they're not willing to do that currently. So they've given up their push. I don't even know how transparent they were with the players on that. John Rahm came out and said that he didn't even know they were still applying for it. So
Right.
um, if that says anything, and then they're trying to push the majors to make exceptions and kind of adjust the rules because currently the majors base additional entries on the official world golf ranking if you're not automatically qualified. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. I mean, there's really not much to say other than they finally just kind of pull their name out of the
Yeah.
hat and they're not going to pursue it anymore currently.
Yeah.
I don't think the story is going to go away. They're still going to have to legitimize their league in some way.
I think it comes down again to what they're doing now is creating their own thing. So something tells me, within the next year or two, if they're still bad with the application, as far as the official world golf ranking points go, I think they're going to just try to create their own world ranking system points and try to get it applied to other world tours. So, like, things like subsidiary tours, Asian tours, feeder tours, things like that. They'll probably try to implement it on that type of deal and see how it goes and see how they can regulate it amongst themselves compared to four round events with cuts. Now,
Well,
do I
let
think
me
they'll be
pause
able to
real
do
quick.
it successfully? Yeah.
Well, I've been seeing a lot of people, even on the PJ Tour, referencing this other alternative ranking. It's called data golf rankings, which they've apparently figured out how to account for the current system of live, and we'll go through that here in a second. I just wanted to bring that up before you got too far down the road.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool. I think also one funny thing to me is that a lot of the live golfers are like, we need an unbiased ranking system. And I'm like, what do you mean unbiased when the official world golf rankings and the RNA and the USGA are all in congruence and they go against such things as the Sunshine Tour, the DP World Tour, the LPGA, the LET, the Champions Tour, the LET Champions Senior Tour? I mean, that doesn't seem like it's biased to me. It seems like it's a pretty
Well,
well-rounded group of
devil's
tours.
advocate, devil's advocate is they're gonna say that the PGA Tour has people associated with the OWGR board that
Mm.
they're playing politics, and that's why their players cannot get on the
Oh,
official world golf rank. That's the argument. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm presenting all the information so people cannot
no,
say
no, no,
that.
no. That's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
They still
Let
not
me just
playing
run
4 rounds,
down.
though.
This true. I lost my page real quick. Let me bring this bad boy back up, and we'll go through the top 20ish and see how many live players are on here on the data golf. So they've been bringing this up. So this is something that they have kind of shifted their attention to as a justification.
Okay.
Let me blow this up a little bit bigger because that's small. So which Rom, just recently departed the PGA Tour, so he's still pretty high on a lot of these rankings. Official World Golf Ranking still has Rom as number 3. So we have Sheffler at number one. Probably no disagreement there. Data Golf has Schauffele at number two. I don't know if
I'm so lost. I'm so
I don't
lost.
get that. Rory at three, Rom at four, Hovland at five. I can get with that. Cantlay at six. I can get with that. Morikawa hasn't been playing great here lately, but he's at seven. Tommy Fleetwood at eight. Sam Burns at nine. Ludwig Aber at 10, which the comparison is he's 11 on the OWGR. Max Homa 11. That feels a little bit low, but he also hasn't won lately. Joaquin Neiman, fair at 12. I can get with that. OWGR, he's 76. Terrell Hatton, also a recent departure. 13, that feels right. Jordan Spieth at 14. Justin Thomas at 15. Russell Henley. I don't know how this benefits, I mean, the LIV guys, because as you can see, really the ones that are on here outside of Neiman, near the top. Bryson is at 22.
Buddy shot a 58,
Again,
and they just won't give it up.
let's see if there's any other ones.
Danny Lee, the next closest one. And what is Danny Lee even doing on the LIV?
No, you're wrong.
Is that Alton Lee? Minwoo Lee? Okay, thank God. Oh my God. You see
Anyway.
me in my little camera screen. I'm trying.
I tried to blow it up. So, yeah, I mean, even those. Yeah, I mean, we're going down pretty damn far. I don't know. This is what they're referencing, so I just use that as an example that is also not benefiting them. I think that again, it's the three rounds.
Yeah. Wait. Hold up. Wait. So you're telling me they're trying to use this and it's still not helping them?
It's not necessarily winning the argument. Let me just go down. Who's somebody? Okay, so just theoretically, they have the next one up. This is where we start getting into the LIV guys that they would fall into the top 50, and I think this is why they're using this as an argument. So Dustin Johnson is number 34. Taylor Gooch is number 33. Which, yeah, Taylor Gooch won 3 times last year on their tournament.
If they're going off
Brooks
of 2-year rankings, that would work.
Here's where it's wrong to me, and I need to really dig into this so we can talk about it with a little bit more knowledge. I noticed that they've been referenced in this. Brooks Koepka is 39. He won a major last year. How is he 39 on this list?
He should be higher on the list.
He should be higher. I'm trying to see if there's another one in the top 50 from there.
Didn't they do hold up, didn't Brooks do well in all the majors that he played in? Like, he was runner up in the Masters. He 39? Cap.
Yeah.
Cap.
What's up, Perry? Let's see here.
Coming with the facts.
The Saudis and Prince MBS will end LIV within 2 years. I don't see them continuing to throw billions at CW Caffeine TV Golf. And a recent Wall Street Journal article in February said that the Saudis are draining their cash with all of their big projects, Lion City, water projects, etc. LIV is costing too much without a return. At the end of the day, I think that's what it says, is that it's the public investment fund.
Yeah.
Keyword being investment.
Yeah.
Anything that you invest in, you want to see a return in. The math has not justified that they are getting any return on the LIV product as of yet. We've said that the CW, let's just start with the basics. The CW ratings are not great, and they're also paying for CW to broadcast their league. So most sports deals, networks pay you to broadcast your sports, they advertise on it, etc. Right? Sponsorships have been light. We're seeing a few club manufacturers put their names on hats. I actually saw on Carlos Ortiz's hat today, met the Vedanta place where PGA Tour has a tournament. They were advertising on his cap. Other than that, you don't see a lot of sponsorships, and those are not going towards necessarily the league or
And that might just be
advertisement.
because
So
he Hispanic and they Hispanic.
correct. Right. Exactly. And trying to play both sides with maybe hoping that they come back together at some point.
Very true.
So yeah, man, I think that we're gonna see. I don't want to. I think we've been doing a good job of staying balanced. I don't want to piss any weirdos off in the comments. If they even make it this far, usually they get about 2 minutes into the video before they start
Yeah.
commenting
Terry,
erroneously. So
Terry brought up a good point though. I mean, that line city that they're trying to build out there and make it self-sufficient, make it self literally nobody has to leave or nobody has to do anything. It's all one city, you're all moving up and down, and it's all like one complex. I think that is like a very futuristic, altruistic deal. And I think that might actually really be something that the world needs to look at as far as like economies go, agronomy, and things like that. I think that might be something that we need to look into. Now, that's something that I could get behind. Live, huh? Huh?
all right, let's get back to this equipment talk.
Okay.
So we've been saying this as we've been going through more what's in the bags is that even the pros want to make the game easier. And
Facts.
earlier on in the week, I caught this article about Ricky Fowler. He's been switching between drivers over the last, several months. He's been through 3 different drivers, playing the Aerojet previously, the low spin version. Recently has gone, as of this week to the dark speed, and it's not the low spin version. And I have a couple of pictures to show about this driver. And in addition to it being a couple, the alignment aid on the face is definitely unique.
Super.
And you see all that head. That is not your normal pro driver. It's pretty bulbous back there. Again,
There's a few guys that play like the TS2, the TSR2, and it's kind of
yeah,
same shape, like bell shape like that. But you're right though. I mean, it's very, very rare to see them playing that much. But remember how many times, since Ping really started doing the aerodynamics and the turbulating jets and stuff like that, a lot of them have been really what's the word, communicating with like airlines and stuff like that, trying to
oh,
figure
for
out the
aerodynamics.
aerodynamics and stuff like that. So a lot of the
Yeah,
bell-shaped drivers are what's winning. Then the matte finish also creates less wind resistance. All this stuff is literally I would say 80% of the things that's on drivers is for aerodynamics and for forgiveness now. There is very
yeah,
little for the aesthetic. You know what I'm saying? So like I will say it's a
yeah.
little bit trippy that they don't have like a top line alignment mark. I think that would trip me out. I don't know if I could do it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I mean, he
But
supplements it with the 3 lines on the face, which I thought
right.
that was I don't think I've seen that yet. I mean, not to that level,
Yeah. Mhm.
Look, I'm pulling up the regular dark speed just to see how they have that, like the stock version,
Mhm.
um, to see what the top of that one looks like. And yeah, I don't even think they have an alignment line on the regular version.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know if I could do that either. Not even a
I need
dot.
something. Yeah, I need a dye,
Oh, you know what? Maybe this is a bad
little baby
photograph.
arrow.
No, they literally don't have anything. If
Nah.
I'm looking on the second swing and it's a used version, so it's just
Mm.
somebody's sky mark. It wasn't
Right. You
a,
trash.
I know. Anyway, so yeah, that's interesting, but again, it goes back to even the pros don't want to make this game super super hard, right? Everybody needs a little bit of forgiveness. We're not going to always have our best stuff. And just from the shaft standpoint, let's see here. He's playing the Denali. I think this was a prototype shaft, the 70 gram stiff.
Mm-hmm.
or extra stiff. So that's also a new shaft for him as well. So he has not been playing that shaft. So we'll see what Ricky brings. Watching a little bit of the full swing. I haven't made it through the second season, but it was interesting, kind of to reminisce his resurgence playing in the U.S. Open last year at LA Country Club, and then winning at the Rocket Mortgage Open. It was good to see Rookie make that resurgence last year.
Yeah.
I kind of root for the guy, especially because you knew he had an opportunity to go take the money and run over to LIV, especially at a time where he wasn't playing his best. It would have been easy. No one would have faulted him for doing it,
Right.
but I think it would have been nonetheless disappointing. So always, rooting for a guy who stands on principles, and I mean, some people will be like, "Oh, you're dumb for not taking the money." The truth is, it's not always about the money, y'all. Especially when you've
It
done
ain't even
well.
my money to
It's
be talking about. I'm pretty sure Ricky is more than well off. Dude has been the title Puma Cobra person besides Lexi for over a decade.
yeah,
Since we got into the game, easily since 2012.
yeah. The orange has been, when he was back in the day, rocking the teased hair and all the
Right.
orange on Sundays. He's been
Too easy.
their poster guy. Those endorsement deals have not dried up. They mentioned on Full Swing, Ricky is very brand conscious. So um, meaning he's going to protect his image, and he has his eyes on the long term prize, not just short term gains. Again, you don't know what projects or things come down the line, and if you stay on the PGA Tour, that's that long money versus this
Right.
kind of quick injection of cash. That cool, it can last a long time.
You
Which
think he's
again,
not
there's so
trying to
much.
buy his time for like the Ryder Cup and stuff like that? Vice captainship, captaincy,
Yeah,
things like that. Getting on the board of things like that. I think he's playing.
right.
He's definitely playing the long game.
I agree. And the last little equipment thing that I wanted to touch on this week, and I think this will close us out in terms of our topics that are on the
Yeah.
agenda. Nike clubs have been slowly but surely disappearing from pro tours as they last produced clubs in 2016.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. Brooks Koepka is still carrying the Vaporfly. It's like a long iron, like a two
Yeah, it's
iron.
like a UTI. It's
Um,
like a Titleist UTI for all the golf nerds out there. It's pretty much like a hollowed bodied, thick clubbed, like hot face for driving. It's gonna stay low. It's gonna give you a ton of rollout, but yet you can go through the blag with this. So I know I'm using Titleist, excuse me, but like the Titleist TMB set, this would be a perfect example to explain what it is with these UTI clubs and these driving irons and stuff like that. Think of the Titleist TMB. It is the perfect moniker for it because it will
yeah,
explain how the weighting goes for it, how the clubs are a little bit stronger lofted, and things like that. How it provides a little bit more help with a little bit of a top line that's provides playability. So um,
yeah.
it's definitely going to be more of a thing, especially since people like to control the bottom of their swing. They will always want to know like where they're hitting down on the ball. So, it's not always the same when you're playing your 3 wood. Sometimes you want to tee it up. Sometimes you want to get it in the air, let it carry. You can tee this thing down or at the same level and it be able to do multiple things. So I definitely
Yeah.
think this will be in more bags for sure.
Yeah, I don't know, especially pro bags. I had personal experience. I went and last year I was looking for either a new hybrid or a driving iron like that.
Mm-hmm.
And while some swings were very good with the driving iron, um, they're very low spin. They're lower spin
Very.
than you expect, and so sometimes keeping it in the air and getting a decent carry out of them can be tough. And under the right conditions, right? So, and the reason I was looking at it was I was anticipating in Texas kind of early spring with a lot of kind of dried out fairways before we get
Yeah.
full summer, and then fall to winter golf where you're getting a lot of, the dormant Bermuda fairways roll quite a bit. And
Bro.
I was thinking about it. Summer, I was like, this may have limited utility, just because I wasn't getting a lot of carry. I was
Yeah.
looking more for the rollouts aspects of it. But back to the Nike Club, CT Pan was one of the last players to still play it on the PGA Tour. Got rid of his last year for a Titleist version. Tony
Mm.
Finau is still playing that Nike Vaporfly Club. You
Hmm.
mentioned Brooks Koepka still. I think he probably alternates it in and out sometimes of the bag,
Yeah.
depending on the course. But I found Justin Suh with the Nike putter in the bag. So again, this was I don't think I looked. I kind of scoured the archives. I even think this was a prototype. This wasn't one that was listed kind of as widely released. They had several models that looked very similar, but in their
Yeah.
official listings, this one was not one that had a model number. And you even when you look at the very bottom, they didn't have an official model number because usually it
Yeah.
was like a 003, something to
Yep.
that effect, and this did not
Hmm.
have that marking on it. But I just thought it was cool that he's had this putter since grade school, and you can see that wear mark in the middle of that putter. That bad boy has been getting some work, and you could tell
Hmm.
that my man is, you know, he's a very efficient putter. Um, you see his stance is very wide, so he's putting a solid hit on that thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, you can tell he's repolished it a couple times because it's not beat up like my little Nike half mallet that I still have in the bag. But
Yeah, that's
he's
true.
put he's polished it a few times. But it's just cool to see the relics of the past and someone still holding on to it. Putter is the one thing that you see people keeping up with in their bags. Tiger's one of those. He's had that Scottie in his bag since the beginning of his career, and you can see the
Hmm.
wear on that one. We've seen some recent pictures of it. So I just thought that was cool, as not former Nike fanboys who came in playing
Still have
Nike
my pro
stuff.
combos in the closet, not dropping them. I swear to God, if you take me to somebody right now and they tell me I'll regroove these and put whatever shaft you want in them right now, I will do that hands down, brother.
I was joking. This dude that I think you shared a post of his a while back on Instagram where he's looking at himself kind of in the past playing basketball, and he's like, "You should be playing golf," and he's like, "No." Well, he posted another Instagram. He's super underrated, and if I find it
He's
when I
comedy.
repost this, he has one where he's like, all golfers have their old clubs in the garage. And I literally just laughed, and he's blowing dust off of them. Because in your mind, you're like, I will play this again sometime. Like, I have this old Titleist 3 wood that our uncle gave me back in the day.
Mm.
And it's so tiny. I mean, it's probably about the size of a modern hybrid. But I love that club. Back in the day, it was like my go to. And I swear to God, everyone I did pull it out probably like 5 years ago, but all golfers keep their old clubs around. So
Facts.
anyway, got a question from Perry before we get out of here. Question: If Tiger is serious about winning again and not being a ceremonial golfer at Augusta, shouldn't he play at the Valspar? I think he's got to get some reps in. Honestly, we found out that he wasn't going to be playing in the Players. We were told that he was going to be teeing it up every month last year. He did play in the Member Pro at Seminole last week. So I think he's got to he's got to figure out another tournament to play. And I think Valspar is a good course to me to go play because it is where you can work on your ball striking, right? Get
You
your
have to
iron
drive the
play.
ball very well, and I think
Yep.
you bring up a good point, Perry, because I think if he really wants to take that shit serious, he's got to be able to drive the golf ball, and the Valspar puts a very much a premium on driving the golf ball well. So yeah, no, great point. 1000%. He needs to be in the field there. He needs to find some type of exemption into it or something like that.
Oh, he's got past champion. He can get into any event. There's not a sponsor out there that would not accept Tiger Woods playing. Here's some food for thought. Well, hold your question.
Yeah.
I think here's my thought. As you mentioned, Perry, him being a ceremonial golfer, I think that's what he's going to be for the next 2 years. Here's my thought. He's joining all these boards. He was elected to the new PGA Tour board, along with Jay Monahan this week as well. There's a lot of talk about the Champions Tour not making money, and it's been one of the main drainers of PGA Tour funds. I feel like we're just having Tiger hang on for the next 2 years, being an ambassador. I don't think I love Tiger. I mean, he's one of the main reasons that I play golf, and was inspired to play golf. But I don't think he has what he had in 2019 when he won the Masters. I don't think we'll ever be able to scrape up that version of Tiger again. And so I think he's holding on for the Champions Tour to kind of revive that and get more eyes on the Champions Tour and really make that, take that away from being a loss leader for the PGA Tour. That's my thought on the next couple of years for Tiger. It's really just kind of playing the waiting game until he qualifies for that.
I was gonna say that I think Tiger, he's gonna play these BS events because he has nothing else to do. But what do you think people would have said if he would have got an elevated exemption into the Arnold Palmer this week instead of Adam Scott or Webb Simpson? Do you think there would be as much uproar? Do you think they'd be as pissed?
No.
Exactly. Shut that shit up.
No, I mean, Tiger is,
it's Tiger
status.
It's Tiger.
He's gonna get that. He's gonna get that. So
I agree. But Adam Scott, major winner. Webb Simpson, major winner. Long-time 20-year members on the PGA Tour. I'm not saying they were just the most deserved of these exemptions, but I'm saying, though, I think there needs to be a little bit more, I get why they did it. I mean, bro, they're on the board. You think they're not going to have board members on there, bro? You know what?
Yeah,
I'm not even going to get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's see. Since they were granted their sponsors exemptions, let's see how they finished, right? Because I think that matters, right? When you give somebody a shot and you let them in based on reputation and not merit. Let's see here. I'm still scrolling. Webb Simpson tied for 30th. And
middle of the field.
Ooh, keep going. Adam Scott missed the cut. They did have a cut this week, y'all. It was only like 10, 20 golfers, but
top 50 in ties, like they did in the Genesis.
Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, I mean, they got to perform, and that's just not what Tiger's doing these days. So Perry said, I think he wants the 83 and the record for himself versus
I agree
being tied with Sam Snead right now. So I get that,
but I think he does. I think he wants to do it with a major, though, Perry.
He can't. I don't think he's got it, man. Look, bro. Look, if freaking Scottie Scheffler is out here is killing people, Tiger has no chance to do that. I think
he's just got to have a magical week. It's just got to be like 2019. So, if it not be in the Masters and getting jacket number 7, then it's got to be one of these U.S. Open tracks where he's played before and knows the lines. But again, all these courses he's played before, they're doing reno. Oh, that line is old. We pushed that champ tee box back, so it's really like a 270 cover now, and you got to play more up the left. So in the
What you're saying is you're defeating your own point that these courses are
correct. I don't
changing.
think
Even
these. Yeah, I don't think
even
these old courses are gonna,
e-
result
even
in
the
good things.
Masters keeps making these incremental changes year over year that the
Right. The
course
Tiger
looks
effect.
slightly different. Yeah, looks slightly different than it did 5, 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I'm I think had the accident not occurred, we're having a different conversation, but it did.
Right.
And so a lot of the fire that he had in his belly at that time went into rehabbing and just getting back to normal, man. I mean, we all saw him limp off last year at the Masters in excruciating pain. And to find out what he was going through at the time and the surgery that it took to kind of get him back to normal, where we're seeing him walking with a fairly normal gait,
Yeah.
that takes a lot out of a human being in the rehab. And we know the injuries that he's had in his career, that he's had a lot of rehabs,
Right.
from major stuff, the back, the Achilles, not was it no, it wasn't the Achilles, it was the knee, the broken leg or fractured leg, whatever the case may
Yeah.
be, right? All those things start to add up, and then to have something off the golf course that pretty much almost took your leg off. It's
Right.
hard to see somebody really getting back to greatness after that at the age of 48 now. So,
True.
anyhow, you got anything else in the bag for you, man, that you want to talk about before we call it a night?
Um. Shout out to Bailey Tardy, randomly going crazy on her fourth round and winning the LPGA. So, also, real good on the LET, the LPGA, and their social media teams doing pretty much everything we begged and pleaded them to do. Hella posts,
Yep.
hella updates, what
Yep.
all the swings, all the smiles, all the events. And what are they doing? They're all doing like the combined post. So all of these ats are already in the post. So
Yep.
LET is posting with the LPGA. LET is posting with the Aramco series. LPGA is posting with the Aramco series. So when Charlie Hull and Lexi Thompson are in Florida stateside, we still getting updates on IG and in the Score Center, because these are real events and they're putting on for their players. So
Yeah.
good on them for stepping it up. And hopefully
Yeah.
it keeps trending and catching, that snowball effect. Just keep getting bigger and bigger. And they're gonna be, making these like generational leaps like the women's basketball is doing right now. But we talked about that
I
last
think
week.
so.
So let's not keep going.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah. Noted. LPGA, women's golf in general, doing what they should do. And the crowds
making
were
some
actually have
dubs.
been in China, Thailand, Singapore. Um, the crowds have been really nice watching
Yeah,
them the last few weeks. So,
I think they still have another event too over there.
which is cool. I like it. You go where your bread is buttered. Go where
Right,
your bread is buttered.
for sure.
So, nice episode today. Again,
Covered a
haters,
lot.
trolls, I will be coming back and snapping back. We are all for constructive feedback. Just be respectful in the comment section. That's all we ask. Like, again, that's, you wouldn't say this crazy stuff to somebody if you saw them face to face on the street. So don't do it on the internet. I think that should go without saying, but it's
Yeah,
2024 and everybody needs to stop living in this online world. Go touch grass, go interact with other human beings, and get off the internet. Thank you for watching if you do, but yeah, if it makes you a weirdo where you just stay isolated on the internet, stay away from our comment section. Much
yeah.
appreciated. Bearder Bros Golf Show. I'm Rod.
And I'm Marcus.
We'll be back next next week talking about the players and all the things that come from that. Hopefully it's a really good tournament and not a blowout, but we'll see if Scottie does a repeat. We'll catch y'all
Right.
next week. Peace.